What you don't measure, you can't manage. So today in this episode, we're talking about scorecards and items that you should actually track in your business and why that's really important. So my name is Arena. I'm here with Mitch. Welcome to another episode. We want to talk about scorecards. So what is a scorecard?
It's something that you can track where you're at in business. You're going to define what the important metrics in your business are that you should be tracking. Then over time, you're going to be able to collate some data, the results of what's happening, so you can get better predictability of what's going to happen and what's going on at a certain point in your business.
So we're going to record some sort of information in a designated place.
Yep, and that's literally as simple as it could be. It could be a diary. It could be something like Asana. It could be a spreadsheet. It could be a Word document. It can be a notes. You might have a daily scorecard. You might have a weekly. You might have a monthly. You might have a quarterly. You might have a yearly.
When we're looking at a weekly scorecard, what are some of the things that you think should be on that scorecard?
Outreach. How much outreach have you done? How many leads have come into the business? And how much jobs will be booked in the up and coming time?
So outreach, would you track emails sent, phone calls made?
If your goal in business is to grow, then yes, I'm going to look at it at that level. Yep. I'm going to go, okay, how many times did I pick up the phone this week? And if I see that number's too low or it's not where it should be, then I know, well, hang on a sec, how can I expect a certain result here?
I love this because it will give you an idea of, okay, for every 100 phone calls I make, I get 20 client visits and I might end up with 5 clients. So you can actually use those numbers to see, what do I have to do to get my desired outcome? What do you mean by tracking leads?
Okay, so to me, it's someone that has said that they have an interest in what you do. So if you call 100 people, that doesn't mean you've got 100 leads.
Yep.
It's only if someone was actually interested in working with you and then puts forth a, hey, could you do this for us? You want to get to a point where you understand, if I do X amount of outreach, that turns into X amount of leads, and then that turns into X amount of jobs booked.
Jobs booked, I'd like to know how many quotes I've sent,
Yes.
just so I can track like how many quotes have I sent and then how many quotes have been accepted.
That is such an important metric, and that would go in between those. Leads, how many did we quote?
Yep.
And then how many of those quotes were actually accepted?
I think those 3 should be a must track.
They're predictability markers for growth. Right? What are a couple other metrics we can measure?
Once we've done the work, how many invoices have we sent?
Yes. I love to know what the average job value is.
Yep.
Because to me, that becomes an important metric, because then I know, based off all the other things we've talked about so far, how many of those I need to achieve a certain amount of revenue increasing.
Just a super quick little tip. The executive summary in Xero actually gives you the number of invoices that you sent in a month and the average value per invoice. So you can see how big projects or lots of small different jobs make a huge difference, like just in the average value, and it's in the report already there for you to grab that number.
Yeah, perfect.
What are the free slots for next week?
That's an important one.
Yep.
If you can see right now that you've got, 15 slots among 3 guys, 5 free slots each, maybe you've got a piled list of small jobs that can be completed where people have actually said to you, oh, look, we don't need this done at any specific time. So you can fill in those spots. It also means that you can hustle harder to actually make sure you've got the work allocation there. Because there's nothing worse. Like, even if you think about that, that's 1 spare spot or 1 hour block each day for each person that's not billed. And that in itself, that could be your profit right there. Everything we've talked about so far literally contributes to how much revenue did you do. Like, if we're talking about on a weekly basis, let's say that we've got a goal this month that we want to grow by 10%. And last month we did 200K. This month we want to do 220K. That means we have to do $55,000 each week to hit that number. Yes, I know it's not 4, but anyway, let's just go with 55. And that means that, hang on a sec, last week we didn't do 55. What are we going to do this week to make sure that we hit 55?
And what's in the pipeline?
Have we got anything? Have we got the leads? Have we got the jobs booked? Have we got the invoices sent? Have we got the cash? Have we got all those things running to get us there?
Actually, you just said cash. That's something I would track.
I love cash. Who doesn't like cash? You're talking about cash movement, or you're just talking about cash in general? Cash in, cash out?
I'm talking about cash movement. So are you basically just spending more than you're receiving?
Yep.
Or the other way around? We've just recently started having a really awesome report just tracking the bank balance and are you adding or are you taking from the bank account? And just putting that in like one little graph, that is a very easy way to measure cash movement and track it.
Which effectively shows cash flow.
Yes.
Cash flow is where, businesses can be made or broke.
Yep. Yeah, 100% cash flow is king.
Yep. What are some things you might think outside the box?
I like to track things around staff.
Yes.
Because let's face it, they're the biggest asset in your business, especially in a service-based business. And if you track sick days, you can see, okay, sick days are increasing. Why? Are people overworked? Is something going around? Are they not happy here? Is the culture not good?
You can even look at things like overtime, like how much overtime was done last week. It could see that there is a dip in efficiency the next week. Then maybe there's also a sick leave day that comes on board. And so you can go, okay, you know what? Normally when I do a big week with a lot of overtime, I have to be mindful of that moving forward. And I have to predict what's going to happen with team might take some more time off. They might need a little bit more rest. They might need X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
Weather. The weather is one I think is really, really important in the industry. If you are working outside, let's say you're a solar guy, solar team, probably shouldn't work on roofs in the rain. If you're actually doing a lot of outdoor stuff, weather is actually going to be something that allows you to determine your revenue. Yep. If you've got a lot of rainy days coming up and you go and look at the month up and coming and we go, wow, we've got 5 rainy days that are billable, that means that I actually have to decrease the amount of billable days that I have if my industry is impacted by the rain, which gives me less days to achieve my goal. What am I going to do to still hit that target?
Another thing, just an example to think about, callbacks. We have to go back and fix things for clients because someone's made a mistake, especially if you're hiring new staff and you track this and there's more callbacks, you can basically identify, okay, someone, and if you know it's a particular staff member, that gives you the opportunity to upskill them and just put some resources into training, make sure the whole team trains better and learns more.
Another one that came up, we had one of our clients actually notice this, incoming jobs from a certain client. They predominantly worked in the real estate space. They went from receiving, I think it was 170 work orders each month across the board from their real estates, and it dropped all the way down to 65. It went down massively. And he was like, oh my God, what's happened? And he was able to identify that a competitor had come in, started to offer a cheaper rate or remove the service fee or remove something, which meant that a lot of those real estates had moved to them. He was able to identify which ones it was. He walked in the door, found the problem, and he just simply offered them some form of combatant to that problem, and he now won all those clients back. And because he touched base with them, he'd been seen as communicative and so on, he actually now, it went up the next month to around about 210 job orders from that space.
It shows the client that they're a valued client. I think that's a lot of ideas for people to put on a scorecard. I'd be so interested to know what everyone else is tracking, if they have some other things that they would track. I'm sure there will be some awesome ideas there. Obviously, the biggest key for me is don't do it all at once. Figure out what's important to you. And if it doesn't fit on one page, it's too much.
Yeah, definitely.